Hey everyone. So, to preface this video, it is Autism Awareness Month. And so all throughout this month, you're going to see little videos like this that are just detailing different things about autism and what it's like to struggle with that and to struggle just with mental stuff in general. You're going to see in the video that I use the word fat, which I understand now is offensive to certain people. And so I'm sorry if that upsets you. And also in the video, you'll hear that I mentioned that autistic people may feel like they're doomed. If you listen in the video, I make sure to explain that that is not the case. You're not doomed. And I explain that in the video. So if you want to listen to that, just make sure and just know that, autistic people are still people. And they'll have their own struggles. And they're not neurotypical, but they're still made in God's image, and they still have a purpose and a reason for living. So don't treat them as less human than normal. And also, in the video, you will see that there is one point in which I say that there is some studies that suggest that people can grow out of ADHD. Those studies are not very conclusive, even when it comes to ADHD, and when it comes to autism especially, you don't really grow out of it. It would take a miraculous event because the neurobiology is a lot more disordered inside of autism than it is in ADHD. Now that doesn't mean it can't be alleviated or mitigated to some degree, but to think that you will, and in the video I hope you will just listen. There is times where I will admit that people with autism are going to have autism until they die, bar some miracle from the Lord. Now, as you get older, you can learn how to cope, how you can deal with that, how you can work with that. And you'll see that in the video. So, yeah, this is just a preface. You'll see more content like this. And love you guys. Have a good time with the video. So, hey everyone. I am making this video just to talk about autism. And so, just to let you know that I was diagnosed with autism level 1. Or ASD level 1, which was originally called Asperger's syndrome before they renamed it. So there's 3 levels of autism. Autism level 1, minimal support, but more than a normal person who has no autism, or a neurotypical person, I should say. Autism level 2, which needs moderate support, and autism level 3, which needs extreme support, or severe, or a lot of support. Now, I was also diagnosed with ADHD, which is often comes along with autism. There's a few other mental things that come along with autism. But when I was young, I was diagnosed with ADHD. Now, I was not diagnosed with autism level 1 until I was 18 years old, and I started suffering from anxiety going into college. And then we went and got a test, and they could easily see the ADHD. But because autism requires your parents to give an account of your past, because it can become masked over time. As you grow up, you can learn coping mechanisms. So some of the things I used to do when I was growing up was repeat stuff back to myself, which is called echolalia, where you say something to yourself, either mentally or under your breath, to just either reaffirm yourself or make sure that you said it correctly. Or there's a few reasons why people with autism do that, but that was one of them. I don't do that anymore. There's many other symptoms of autism level 1, 2, and 3 that you can go check. And each person's different with the things that they have, their little quirks. And that doesn't mean you can't even work on them. Like I said, you can mask. Masking is a form of working on it by disguising yourself to look neurotypical. But if you can pretend to be neurotypical in some areas, it does mean or does suggest that you can progress at least somewhat but it takes training. It takes habit building, whereas neurotypical people just get that stuff. People with autism level 1 would have to work for it. They'd have to do a lot of habit building, thinking about what it means to look normal in a conversation, and putting that into practice so they can learn it and it becomes a habit. It's not something they pick up. It generally, at level 1, affects pretty much all of your social capacities, many of them to a certain degree. When you get down further in the levels, it affects other stuff too. But autism level 1 typically is just more social based. And so people see you as weird, but not autistic, which is what's happened. My dad didn't even think I was autistic when I finally got the diagnosis, or when my mom told him about her suspicions before I got the diagnosis. And that happens where people just refuse to believe it, even the people who are diagnosed with it. And you shouldn't do that, because understanding how your brain is structured will help you to live life the way God intended you to live. So you are not your brain. There's a great book called that, actually, if you want to go look that up. Although that one's more about OCD, but it does help you detach from a naturalistic mindset. So if you are not your brain, and there is neuroplasticity, which means you can, by the way you choose to think and the things you choose to do, you can alter your brain structure. That does mean neurobiological disorders such as autism, ADHD, and a few others that you could think of, they can be mitigated. Can they be eliminated? No, because you can only change the structure of your brain so much through neuroplasticity. And people with autism and ADHD have neurobiology that, if it remains into adulthood, will stay largely the same. And for almost all autistic people, it remains into adulthood. There are some cases of ADHD regressing as kids grow up, which could also just be a misdiagnosis at the same time, but that's neither here nor there. So, some of the things that I did growing up was I just told the truth all the time, even if people didn't want to hear it. And when I was younger, I didn't understand why people weren't telling the truth about, like, why is that person fat? That person needs to stop eating so much, or why you have a pick in your hair, sir, or you're old. Now that I'm older, I recognize that you don't typically start conversations that way, and you have to build a level of trust before you can engage in topics like that. But I still reflect back on that and think, you should tell the truth. But does that mean you have to tell the truth all the time? No, you could just be quiet, which is still hard to do. But whenever you do choose to speak, you tell the truth, which is a different thing than what I was doing when I was younger, where I would just say, oh, look, it's true, so I should just say it. But that's not the way it goes. It takes discipline, and it takes thoughtfulness to work on these things, and thank the Lord that He's been with me, helping me, guiding me, because through reading the Word, reading the Bible, and engaging in things like Christian apologetics, I've managed to learn a lot more about figurative language, which people with autism sometimes, or even a lot of the times, struggle with, such as like metaphors and similes and other kinds of figurative language. Because the Bible's full of that. It's got a lot of figurative language, especially in poetry sections and apocalypse and all the different genres. It just helps you to learn and grow. And if you're a parent of an autistic person, you should start this while they're young. You should start teaching them how to navigate social conversations. Do not get rid of the good things that come alongside it, such as a commitment to honesty and truthfulness. Teach them how to use that correctly, though. And the culture needs to get less afraid of the truth. Because if a person, especially a person with autism, is telling you the truth, it's not to hurt you primarily, it's to just tell you the truth. And the truth will set you free, as Jesus says. And he's the way, the truth, and life. But the truth in other areas will set you free. So you should tell the truth if you're going to speak. Does that mean you should always speak on everything that is true? No. If a person's overweight, you don't have a great relationship with them, don't just come out in the middle of the conversation and say you're fat. But get to know them. Broach that topic in a different way. Engage them in that topic after you've gotten to know them. Maybe you get to know why they're fat or why they're overweight and why they have maybe an unhealthy relationship with food or an unhealthy relationship with people in their lives, or maybe they have a biological condition. One thing about telling the truth like that is to tell it in love, like Jesus tells us to. You speak truth in love. And part of speaking truth in love is, if you're going to tell them the truth, a truth that you know they don't want to hear, then you need to be standing there beside them to help them and encourage them and give them guidance on maybe how to fix that or to change that or to lead them somewhere where they can. And to encourage them and to not just leave them with the bare truth. A lot of people will not like that. Another thing is, I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of people that I know that are acquaintances, and I think people throw out the friend label way too much. You're a friend if you have a deep relationship, and you're a very good friend if you're there for your friends, and you're a best friend if you're better than all the other friends that you've got and that person has. Now, friendship is difficult, because social reality is difficult for people with autism level 1. So if you do have an autistic person in your life, that they're just perpetually awkward, go out of your way to engage them, because they're probably not going to talk to you first. They're incredibly inclined towards introverted or being a recluse and staying away from conversations. Go out of your way to talk to them. The Lord's helped me become more outgoing. But they're not going to like big groups, typically speaking. They're going to want to talk about the things they like more than what you want to talk about. Mostly just because that's what they think about. And that's what they know. And it's comfortable. Now, is some of this rooted in selfishness? Maybe. Maybe while our neurobiological disorder lends us towards the truth, it also lends us towards these topics, these areas of interest that we really, really like, and so we won't spend much time with others if it means it has to go away from the topics we like. People with people with ASD level 1, you're going to need to learn that life is not about just the things you like, just the things you really, really enjoy. There's more to life that God has made us for than just our desires and our favorite subjects or favorite things. But you also need to know that God loves you, and He's made you special. And by special, I mean He's made you in His image. And a brain that's not working the exact way it should does not mean you are not made in God's image. Because being made in God's image is more about you as a person, not your body. You as a soul, not your body. But your body gives you, and it's also about your function. Being made in God's image is also about you spiritually, but also you, how you steward the world and how you represent God in this earthly world. And your body is important to that. So I'm not going to diminish the body, but I'm not going to say you are doomed because that's just the way your brain is. It's not. I'm going to give you a well-balanced approach. You're specially made in God's image, and you're loved. So even if you are struggling, just know there is one being, God, who loves you and died to save you, and anyone else who trusts in Him through His Son Jesus. And you don't have to have a bunch of friends. I would encourage you to go try to make friends and to take time to just engage in what they like. Get out of your topics that you like, because that's what it means to love. Love includes doing things that you don't always like because the other person you are loving likes them. And friendship and relationships of a good kind or a good quality require love. It's not the same as romantic love, obviously, but it's still love. So if you're lonely, because loneliness is a big deal, especially for autistic people, because we don't make friends well, we don't make relationships well. If you struggle with that, then just know, you can talk here. Put it in the comments below. If you play games or anything like that, or do online stuff, I can try to do that stuff with you. But I'm not your solution. I'm the one pointing you towards the solution. That's Jesus. And that's also getting out of your comfort zone, because this is what God calls us to do. And you're going to have to do stuff that aren't always in line with the things you want to do. And for people who are looking at an autistic person, man, they're weird. And then you get this subconscious bias to just stay away from them because they're weird and you don't quite know what's going on. And maybe you don't like them because of that. Well, get over it. And make sure you are consciously checking yourself that that's not the reason why you're doing that. Because these people are also made in God's image. They are also human beings. And while they may not have a neurotypical brain, they are people with bodies that need social interaction, that need communion, communication, and relationship, that need people there who love them, people there who will advocate justice for them and be there for them when they don't stand up for themselves. People with autism will get bullied a lot. If you see those people in your schools, go and encourage them and protect them. You should not be letting evil happen to anyone, but especially those who are disadvantaged. Now, there's a bunch of other things. You need to, as a parent, you gotta start teaching them young, about what this is. And you're gonna have to take time to help them understand how social relationships work. And they won't understand. And they may not even understand what autism is and what it means for them to have it. But you are there as a parent to teach them that. And you need to love them and advocate for them. But also not let them get away with things. They're smart enough to know right from wrong. I know right from wrong. They know right from wrong. But that doesn't mean that they won't need help. They're going to struggle. And the further you go down in the levels, they're going to struggle more. So be patient with them. Help them. And be Jesus to them. I'm going to release more videos on autism, ADHD, and other things like that. But if you like the content, then just, like the video, comment down below any questions or thoughts you had. Share it to anyone who you know might be autistic, is autistic, or people who are taking care of them, or people who are trying to be friends with them. Just anyone connected to an autistic person, especially those with level 1. All right. Love you guys. Bye.